Welcome to Three Guys and a Brit, an international podcast where we go over many subjects. As usual, I am Jericho along with Jeej, Windu, and Caveman. Now, today we're going to talk about some current news around the world and protests in general. Have you guys heard about the Boris Johnson drama that's going on in my country at the minute?
Yeah, dude's wilding.
He resigned. His whole party is in shambles at the minute. So if you guys don't know who Boris Johnson is, and people who are not overly familiar with politics, he's Prime Minister of UK. Still is, technically, even though he resigned, because we're still waiting for the next person to take in control. So he's still not trying not to back out. He's kind of like the Trump version of United Kingdom, right? Because he is refusing to move out of the place, and even though he's got like the
easy
caretaker, right, who's supposed to replace him, but he's not going there. So he's he's resigned. I believe it was day before yesterday. He made a whole speech, right?
He resigned kind of like freaking Trudeau needs to resign out of Canada. For all my Canadians out there, we got your back.
He had no choice. He had no choice. I would say he was pressured into resigning, right? He was pressured into resigning in not.
Wait, what the hell happened with him?
So basically, a day or two before his resignation, his closest allies, right, his right-hand men, you can say, right, they put in a resignation. Right. This whole thing came about because there's a guy who's an MP, Minister of Parliament, right? He goes by the name of Chris Pincho, right? There was allegation held against him while apparently during the time he was while he was staying in London or whatever it was, he drank far too much and he groped two guys, right? Yeah. I don't know what to say, but hey, everyone has their own ways. Everyone has their own things, right? But he
said everyone's Bill Cosby in their own way.
Yeah. So
fuck?
He groped two. Yeah, he groped two guys, right? And apparently Boris Johnson was aware of this. He was aware of this, and he was still let him work.
Oh, it wasn't Boris Johnson.
No.
Okay.
It's not Boris Johnson.
I thought it was Boris Johnson. I was like, man, Johnson out there trying to grab some Johnson. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so he knew about this MP doing all sorts of fuckery, right? And in UK, even if you're a politician. And even if you have your own private life or whatnot, if these kind of things come out in public, it's a very embarrassing situation for them specifically, right? And also, it also questions their party that they serve under, right? To say like, yo, what happened to all the standards and etiquettes that people are supposed to be following, and why are they not held to the similar kind of consequences as the rest of the public, right? So that's the kind of premeditated thought process that goes down over here, regardless of any shit that goes on. But anyways, so that was one of the key events that led to his resignation, right? So bearing in mind, he also had a scandal of his Partygate, right? So during this whole entire Partygate, let me just break it down to you. So during the whole entire time during COVID, there was a lockdown period, right? People were not allowed to visit family members. People were not allowed to, go and see anyone. You just had to like follow the strict guidelines because people were going to get fined like thousands of pounds and etc. like that, right? So after doing all of this and during this period, there's a lot of people who actually had tragic moments where their family members passed away, etc., and they were not even allowed to go to the funeral. But this dickhead, Boris Johnson, decided to have own fucking beer garden parties in his fucking backyard with all of his fucking MPs out there, and he thinks it was okay, and he didn't do anything. So there was an independent investigation held by the number 10. Right? So this is kind of like your penthouse, right? Number 10 is our kind of like a penthouse kind of shit, right? Or your White House or whatever nonsense, wherever your president. Okay.
Man, I thought you were talking about someone that worked for MI6, bro. You're like,
no.
You had number 10 in there.
So,
like, shit.
So apparently,
I'm still trying to figure out why people care. Like, why is it a big deal that he's resigning? Because apparently he's a shit show, based on what I'm hearing.
Yeah. So he is a shit show. Don't get me wrong, but he is a complete mess of a prime minister for us, right? Because there are so many shit that he promised and then he didn't fucking back it up. And then at the same time, he thinks that he's above the law and he thinks that he can get away with shit. And people are just like kind of getting tired of his bullshit. Do you know what I mean? Is they like, hold on a minute, you broke the rules, you broke all of this shit, and yet you expect me to be fine with it? You fucking twat. I couldn't go see my family members funeral that was held because I was scared of the fine that I was going to fucking get. You fucking dickhead. And you go in and having fucking beer garden parties. Like, he supposedly had bring your own booze party in Downing Street, right? On the first lockdown.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
A fucking beer garden party does sound kind of lit, don't it? I mean,
that's what I'm saying. It does sound lit. Don't get me wrong, but this is
why?
No, but this is a first.
Bro,
this is a first lockdown.
Massive,
he did this shit, right? During the first lockdown, he did this shit, and during this first lockdown, there's 126 fine that was issued out to 83 people for breaking rules that were set by Downing Street, right? And he was not held responsible for this. He's the one who made a fucking public announcement that you have to follow the strict lockdown rules. You cannot go and meet certain people. You have to follow this rules. You have to follow this rules. And he made a fucking big, huge fucking deal about it. And then afterwards, when he got caught, he's like, yo, that's not me. That's not me, bro. That's not me, bro. I don't know who it is. That's my twin. You know what I mean? and then afterwards, he kept denying the fact. On top of it, saying that he did not break any rules. But then afterwards, this woman called Sue Gray, who was doing the investigations about his alleged lockdown rule, breaking of the rules of the lockdown, found him guilty. And he was issued a fine. You know what I mean? So that was one of the reasons. Then the next one was the tax rises, right? So inflation rose at I think it was an all-time high of 9.1% in this year, 9.1% of this year, right? So during this point, many of the reasons were because of outside of his control, which is the Russian invasion of Ukraine and, the oil price going up and the cost of food going up and everything like that. But the government did say that the tax rise would pay for health and social care, but that changes kicked in and softened the blow. But anyone earning more than $34,000 a year will still pay more. In the middle of the worst cost of living crisis for decades, and he seems to be fine with it because people over here going out, struggling to meet ends meet. Right? Especially for lower working class citizens, right? Who are, let's just say you're living in London, for example, right? And it will take you about for a day, let's just say it'll cost you about £10 to just buy your food, right?
Gas prices are pretty high over there, like £10, it's like more than 10 American dollars per gallon over there.
So right now the liter over here, like per liter, we go by liter. So per liter, I just looked at my cocaine gas station down there, and it was £2. I think I told you, Windu, it was £2 1p per liter, right? £2 1p per liter, bro.
So it's like almost $8 a pound, or £8 a gallon.
Yeah, something like that. Almost like £9 a gallon.
Because what is it? 4 liters equal a pound or something like that?
Something like that.
Four liters equals a gallon.
A gallon, not a pound. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's quite
roughly about
expensive.
$10.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's quite expensive.
Yeah.
And also food prices have gone up. Bro, this drink that I normally get, I'm telling you, I only pay £1.10. I went to fucking Sainsbury's today and I looked at this and it was almost £1.70, bro. Right? You can see how much the prices have increased, right, during this whole entire period. And it's not helping the lower class people because some people are only like £10, like, you know, £11, £12 an hour, right? If you're living in London, your living expenses go, you know, your hourly rate is matching according to what the council thinks is suitable for that city, right? So where I'm living in London, I'm sorry, not in London, Nottingham, my minimum wages per hour over here is £9.82.
Bro, hourly wage is determined by the city over there?
Yes. Because each city is expensive. You know what I mean? So if you go to London, prices over there are fucking high, bro. Like a one bedroom. No, let me break it. A studio flat, right? A studio flat with just a bathroom on its own. Yeah, you're paying £700 a month. That's excluding bills. Right? If you include bills, it comes up to about £1,000 so a month. You know what I mean?
That's not that bad. I'm pretty sure Florida is worse on that.
It's a studio flat, which is not even bigger than this room.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, but that's gonna depend on where you, excuse me, where you live. Because a studio in a big city. But a studio in a big city for $1,200. Like, bro, I know bro, I literally just saw a YouTube video of the United States smallest apartment in New York City. Literally 50 square feet, $1,400 a month. 50. That's the size of a bathroom.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm saying. So these kind of things, like, you have to understand, majority of the people, right? Even though they're living in cities or anything like that, I'm talking, this is outskirts of the main city of London. Like, these are like places in like Peckham, Lewisham, all of these kind of places, right? Which is fucking horrible to say, but that's like majority of the poverty rates lie within those selected regions, right? And in that area, you're paying around like £700 to £800 per one bedroom flat even for that. And you have like a family of, I don't know, 2 or 3 kids along with your wife, and you all have to share in, like, you know, it's expensive to go to a bigger places as well, because it'll cost you around, at least if you want to get like a 2-bedroom house, at least minimum, you're paying around like £1,800 excluding bills.
Do you think that like the situation could have been like avoided, or at least made a little bit less shittier if y'all would have stayed in the European Union?
There's many factors regarding this. Yeah, I mean, there's many factors regarding this. Brexit being one, right?
You hit it where it hurts.
Yeah, Brexit being one. Brexit, a lot of people don't seem to realize how much of a damage Brexit has done for us in specific, right? When it comes to like import, like, bro, there's driver shortages, this, that, and everything just to get food or whatever it is to coming into this country. You know, like, some people were so scared during this point, thinking that they might get deported back, because, you know, having a European passport will allow you to come and go, stay here, work, etc., etc. But once you come out of the European Union, you know, people got scared thinking that, oh shit, I'm gonna get demoted, like, you know, deported back to my country. Fuck that. Like, I might as well go back, you know, before they deport me back, because I want to be able to come back and work over here, because compared to the pounds and the euros that they get, pounds way more, right? And standards are a little bit better. But again, that comes into consideration too. And also the kind of deal and agreements that they had between each countries and the European Union as a whole. also makes an big impact. Like during this whole, look how long the Brexit lasted. The Brexit lasted for fucking years on end with no fucking conclusion. And then finally, yes, again, thanks to Boris, that's the one good thing that he came out of it, was he actually finalized the deal, right? Because he had no choice at this point to come to this situation where he had to finalize it, because the majority of the people at that time who voted for Brexit to go ahead didn't have the correct information. And also this dickhead kind of like gaslighted them a little bit too. You know what I mean? Saying that, yo, 350 million pound is getting taken out of NHS because we are in European Union. Like, dickhead, no. That's completely false. And then some people try to sue him for it, for the false campaign allegations and shit. So you had Chris Pincher, who was the MP that's groping. Then you had the cost of living and tax crisis, right, that affected his resignation too. And in October 2021, there was this MP called Owen Paterson, right, who serves under the Conservative Party, where Boris Johnson is from. He was kind of like called out on lobbying, right, to try and help companies benefiting, right, and also like making money from the companies and stuff like that. So he got called out on that, and Mr. Johnson, Boris Johnson, knew about this shit too. So all of these things.
So isn't it a good thing that he's gone?
Yes, it is a good thing, but we also don't know who the fuck are we going to get next, right? Because as soon as somebody resigns, like resignation of a prime minister will not lead to a general election, right?
Why
so the
not?
Because general elections are held. Yeah, so the next general election comes.
It's like president, vice president, so to speak.
Oh, okay.
So now, because Boris Johnson, because he was the Conservative leader, right, Conservative Party leader, and also the Prime Minister of UK, right, because every leader of each party becomes the Prime Minister if they win the elections, whatnot. So now they're going in, they're waiting for, within his party, to have an election to raise the next Conservative leader who will take his spot as the Prime Minister until the next election happens, right? So that's pretty much sums up. So within his party, two of his allies, there's Chancellor Rishi Sunak and Health Secretary Sajid Javid. They both resigned on the day before he resigned, and that kind of pressured him into resignation, because everyone in his party is there like, yo, bro, I don't have any confidence, just you. I don't have any confidence in you as a prime minister, as a Conservative leader, so peace, I'm out. And so when those two guys left, Boris Johnson came in. Hey man, even on his resignation speech, motherfucker was shameless, and he still blamed other people for the bullshit excuses that he coming up with, and now he has no choice but to step down, really. So, and that's the end of UK politics in a nutshell at the minute.
Do you think it's like more like a strategy? Because knowing that just by him resigning, his party stays in power, he could just have his buddy.
No, it's not a strategy, because it's the same thing regardless of which party you're coming from. Because, if you come from the Labour Party and you were the Prime Minister at that time, the Labour Party will automatically choose who the next person is going to be the leader and take control of that shit, right? So it's the same process that goes on for all the parties. It's not just his party. It's not a strategic move. It's just how the system works. You know what I mean? So the next person in the Conservative Party who becomes the leader will be automatically seated as the Prime Minister. But when the general election comes, all the shit that this new Conservative leader has done as a Prime Minister for this whole entire process will be very much scrutinized. You know what I mean? Fucking people out here are like wolves, bro. I'm telling you, even the tiniest little shit, they will grab you by the collar and be like, hey, you did this shit, motherfucker. Explain yourself. You know what I mean? Explain. But that's exactly what it is. But however, speaking of craziness, yo, tell me something. Don't you think that the presidents around the world right now are fucking scrutinized like, look at fucking Sri Lanka's president, right? What's happening with him over there with the protest shit? Like, I know we were talking about protesting shit, right? But look at what's going on over there, bro. Fuck me.
It's because the people at power, the 1%ers, they're out of touch what's going on with everybody else, man. They know that there's shortages. They know that everything's going through the roof in regards to inflation, and they don't give a fuck. You know, they eat every day. You know, it's the poor people. It's the 90% of this earth. They're tired of it, man. People are tired of the bullshit. They're tired of the bullshit politics. You know, it's the same thing here in America. Like, we don't know who's going to come next. Like, when Trump was in power, people were criticizing Trump for what he was saying, what he stood for, and he was divisive and shit. But who was the better option after that? Fucking Biden? Look at Biden. Like, our country is to shit right now. We're going through similar issues like in Sri Lanka where there's shortages and shit like that. Maybe not to the scale that they're suffering it, but we're feeling it, dude.
Much. Yeah.
We're feeling it, and people are tired of it, man. They're tired of the same bullshit, hearing the same, hey, we're gonna make the country great again using same old politics and shit, you know? And that's what it is, man. They burned that man's house down, the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka. They burned that man's house down.
Right.
I mean, I can't imagine he only had one house.
The presidential palace was stormed. I believe that's what the news was showing. The presidential palace was stormed, and people are just jumping in their swimming pool and all of that shit, right? Jumping on top of it, like spray painting the fuck out of it. Like, it's a whole tyranny, fam, that's going on over there. But what was it? Like, I believe the whole entire thing came under scrutiny because there was a foreign exchange store shortages that was happening, right? Which limited like essentials like fuel, food, medicine, and it just like that helped them go into like a massive financial turmoil, which I think it was last time it happened was like 70 years ago, right? So during this protest, like there was months of protest that led to this point where they started to bombard the presidential palace. Like, but it's just one of those things. Like, what is it now? Because the president was forced to resign, you got the prime minister of Sri Lanka to resign too. So you know, it's just crazy right now what's happening with people.
Yeah, and dude, I mean, and the ex prime minister of Japan just got killed, you know, while delivering a speech, you know, and I still don't know why.
I was about to say, like,
he was assassinated.
If he's the ex-president, I mean, it could have been a message, or maybe he just pissed off the wrong person. No.
What is it? I think, the guy that assassinated him, right, the gunman. I think that he was fed, like, this is the kind of information that I read. Like, you know, when you're scrolling through the news and you just capture this little thing. So I believe that the gunman was into this whole conspiracy theory, like who believed all the theories that was against Shinzo Abe, right? And he just went behind, like, you know, for some reason, he just lost that little bit of a screw. It became unloose a little bit and believed like he was the evil person and he had no right in this world to stay. And next minute, you know, he was assassinated during a speech, I believe. I'm not 100% sure if it was during the speech or it was just one of those things. But yeah, man. But you know what's the crazy part? That gun was a handmade gun.
Whoa.
Well, like a little pipe gun or some shit like that.
That's
like he made his own gun, like, which is crazy.
Yeah, because Japan has the lowest gun murder rates in anywhere.
Yeah, they're the strictest gun laws. They have the strictest gun laws. I mean, they do have the lowest gun rate violence too, and I believe it's like just below a certain amount percentage. I can't remember if it is like 10% or some shit like that. But I think in a year they have like less than 10 gun-related incidents that happen in that country, right? Because there's so much strict laws. Like they have to, again, like, you know how we said about in our previous podcast with the whole psych evaluation, this, that, and everything. They have to go through all of that shit, bro, before owning a gun. And there's another part is like they'll even send police officers to your neighbors to confirm if this guy is a nut or not.
Oh shit!
Right?
You better be cool
And
with your
then-
neighbors.
Asking the neighbors.
Yeah, they go through all sorts of procedure. What is it? Let me just pull it up meanwhile. But yeah, it was just like it was what is it? Yeah, it's something like he used 2 tubes and something like that, like used like a plaster and wrapped it up, and yeah, obviously it's undetectable. So he got through it. And yeah,
I don't know, man. I mean, a lot of conspiracy theories nowadays are starting to make a lot of sense. You know, like in
What do you
a
mean?
world full of inflation and debt and shit. And like our country, bro, like we have shortages, we have people starving, you know, and we're in America. You know, we are the ones that are proud to be the poster child for nations, to be like, this is the way you're supposed to be. You know, we take care of our people, and we have people starving here, and we're sending money to other countries. You know, we're sending $800 million to Ukraine to fight the war. I get it. We're trying to beat Putin and all that shit and all the agenda he has, but I think we should take care of ourselves first before we can take care of somebody else. You know?
You know what? I think they
yeah,
might be
take care of
doing
your
though.
house first. You know what I mean? What's that?
Yes.
Sorry?
No, I think what they're doing is not even like we want to help other people, right? I think, and this is horrible to say as far as politicians go, but I think all they're doing is like, hey man, the problem with the United States is not going to be fixed in my 4-year term. I just got to make sure that a war doesn't break out while I am the president. You get me? So I think they're just basically pushing off and be like, hey man, let's support Ukraine. Let's not worry too much about what we got going on at home. I just got another 2 more years, baby. Let's try and coast this bitch out. Let the next person worry about that shit. I think that's what's really going on.
Yeah. But you know, like I pulled up the information while we were talking, right? So according to Japan's firearm laws, right? So to qualify for a firearm license, potential buyers must attend all-day class, pass a written test, and a shooting range test with an accuracy of at least 95%. Hey, is Caveman frozen?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's not only frozen, he just bounced. Oops.
Where did Jeej go?
He said he was gonna be right back, and he hasn't been back either.
Yeah. So, this is what we're gonna do, right?
Go ahead.
You know how we spoke on the previous podcast, yeah? So, you know how we said, like, look at this. This country already implements this thought process that we were, like, you know, the brainstorming that we were actually doing regarding gun laws, right?
Yeah, making it harder, etc.
Yeah. So with like I said earlier, potential buyers must attend all class, a written test, and a shooting range test with an accuracy of 95%. They must also undergo a mental health evaluation and drug test, as well as a rigorous background check, including a review of their criminal record, personal debt, involvement in organized crimes, and relationship with family and friends. They have to go through all of this shit before they can own a gun, fam. A license to own a
Bro,
gun.
hey man, it just sounds like they're doing it right. And I mean, like we said, even if you make it harder to own a gun, it doesn't mean crazy shit won't happen. Like you saw, the guy made his own gun at home, right?
Yeah.
He might have even 3D printed that shit for all we know with today's technology. But
True.
even then, like, yo, there's a reason why they got the lowest amount of, you know, incidents in their whole nation. It's because they make it so hard to own a gun.
Apparently, according to the statistics, right? So an average, where was it? Where the fuck was it? I just had it.
It's a culture too, man. Japanese culture is really conservative. They're like, for the slightest shit, you could dishonor your whole family. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's more of like a respecting to your elders and to your community.
Yeah.
You know, to not be a piece of shit.
So
Not be a
like
piece
I
of
said,
shit.
Caveman, I was telling Windu, right? I was telling Windu before you got cut off.
Sorry, guys.
So in order to own a firearms license, potential buyers must attend all-day class, pass a written test and a shooting range test with accuracy of 95%.
Ooh.
They also must undergo a mental health evaluation and drug tests, as well as a rigorous background check, including a review of their criminal record, personal debt, involvement in organized crimes, and relationship with family and friends, right?
Whoa.
But here's the statistics number. Right? In 2017, when they made a survey, right? 377,000 guns were held by civilians in Japan, in a country of 125 million people, right? Which equates up to 0.25 guns per 100 people, compared to about 120 guns per 100 people in US, according to the small
120 per 100.
Yeah.
Oh, America.
That's what's
survey.
reported. That's what's reported.
That's what was reported.
Right.
Right? So, a project of a graduate institute of international and development studies in Geneva. This was held in that survey, right? 0.25 per 100, right? 0.2. Bro, I'm telling you, we even in UK, even though like guns are fucking very strict to come by, I think we capped that to at least 10, right, per 100. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's a small amount.
Yeah.
You know, this is not even hitting one, bro. This is not even hitting one, right? 377,000 guns were held by civilians in Japan out of their 125 million population as a whole country, as a whole nation, right?
Bro,
Damn.
I mean, that's why there's I mean, I get it, you know, you want to have home defense, but when there's no need to have a gun, you have results like this where the crime rate is lower, you know, the community is tighter, you know, because I depend on you. If I want to hold a gun, I need to have a good relationship with you. I need to make sure that my household is taken care of. Everybody's good, you know, and that's when you have a real responsible person that has a gun, you know?
Yeah.
And out here, I bet there's just enough amount of guns as there's people in the United States. We have 450 million people. I bet we
Something
have
similar.
at least one gun for everybody. I bet.
But here's the thing though, like their last known gun incident was in 2007. That was in 2007. Last known gun incident before the Shinzo Abe stuff. The last one known was in 2007 when a public shooting of a politician, again, this was involved with something to do with politician, right? When the mayor of Nagasaki, Icho Ito, was shot at least twice in the back at point blank range by an alleged gangster, right? But since then, Japan has further tightened its gun controls, imposing heavier punishments for gun offenses committed by members of organized crime gangs, right? So I can say it's safe to say that most of the gun violence that happens over there, apart from the odd individuals here and there, is mainly committed by organized crime gangs, right? So other than just a random person going out in public and just fucking shit up for no fucking reason because he's lost a fucking screw in his brain or some shit like that. So
yeah, but organized crime, they're just not going to be able to stop that as easy, right? That's why they have departments dedicated to stop or to fight that battle. But the fact that the majority of the population doesn't have those incidents is amazing, right?
Yeah.
Even if they implemented all that over here and 99% of gun incidents stop and they still had the organized crime percentage, that would still be a huge victory for the United States, especially with all the shit that's going on.
It'll never happen, bro.
But that's the thing, it's not taking the freedom away. We went over this before.
Right.
Yeah, it's not taking the freedom away. It's just that there is such a rigorous control scheme, a control method put in place to stop people from going, anyone just obtaining a
people that shouldn't have a gun.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's crazy. And I mean, obviously there are probably other crimes that sky high, you know what I mean, in that country. But here's the thing. So under the revision of the new laws that after that 2007 incident. Possessing a gun as part of an organized crime syndicate can lead up to 15 years in prison just for possessing it, right? Possessing more than one gun is also a crime, which carries a prison term of up to another 15 years. Discharging a gun in public space, meanwhile, can result in a life sentence.
God damn.
I know, right? Discharging
Golly.
a gun in public space, discharging a gun in public space can result in a life sentence.
Damn, dude.
So, of course, people will be like, hey, man, I'm not pulling this gun out. I don't want to go in prison for fucking life. Like, fuck that.
God dang.
You know what I mean?
Dude, over here we have 10, 20 life or whatever. Like if you shoot a gun and it hits somebody or some shit, you just shoot it, it's like 10 years. And then 20 years if like you hit somebody, and then life if you kill somebody. So it's like a little bit looser. It's looser over here, you know, because honestly, I mean, you could probably, you know, shoot a gun in a public space and maybe just get locked up for a couple of days or some shit. But god dang, bro, be looking at a whole chunk of your life gone, you know, if you're acting like an idiot. So that's why a lot of people are.
If you're part of, you know, whatever it is, if you own a gun, is 15 years. Owning more than 2 guns, another 15 years. So 30 years in total, right? Just for having more than one gun, right? And then on top of that, if you just take it out and you discharge it in public because you think that you're fucking done dada, right? You're gone in prison for life. Yeah, you're not seeing the fucking apart from the 4 walls that you see in your prison every fucking night, you ain't seeing sunlight for shit. And enjoy the beach. Like, motherfucker, you're stuck there.
Do y'all remember that video I sent y'all where the dudes are out in like this block party and they pull out like ARs and then one dude has a fucking AK and shit. He's like,
imagine all of those motherfuckers. Imagine all
30 life. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, 30 life. Oh, you just popped it like pop. Your life sentence, motherfucker. You're staying behind bars for good. Like,
yeah.
But anyways, like according to the post over here, it says that the suspect who shot Shinzo Abe, right? His name is Tetsuya Yamagami, who's 41, who admitted to shoot. According to the police, he said that he has certain hatred towards groups which he thought the former prime minister was linked to. So he used a homemade gun in shooting, and authorities confiscated homemade pistol-like items from his apartment. And he's in custody at the minute. So he could be looking at a life sentence. God damn, like, politicians are not having it easy nowadays, fam.
I mean, again, it's just people tired of the bullshit, man.
Bro, I see why motherfuckers go out there and buy like these little tiny houses and fall off the grid and go up in the mountains and shit like that. Like it's so easy to get caught up in your own world, but when you sit here and actually think about it, it's like, we're low-key fucked. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine getting up every morning. You know, you're tired as fuck and you have to go bust your ass at this shitty job. Your boss treats you like shit. And then at the end of 2 weeks, you get a shitty little check. And then 99% of that shit goes to fucking gas and fucking food. And the motherfuckers that are supposed to fucking be there. Yeah, dude, the dudes that are there supposed to be like, hey, listen, if you trust in me, I'm going to make sure that your work it's going to make sense. You're going to go home, you're going to feel accomplished, and I'm with you. And you go to the ballot and you fucking sign your name on the thing and you put your little check on the box. And then this motherfucker does the opposite. And in fact, now you're working harder for less shit. And you're fucking tired of it. And yes, it's easy for some motherfuckers to snap. I mean, I'm not saying it's right, but that's why we're seeing it every fucking where. It's not just happening in Japan, in Sri Lanka, in fucking Canada, in the United States. It's going on everywhere, dude. People are tired of the politicians and the 1%ers. They know that they're patting their pockets. They know that what's going on right now is perfect for them, bro. They're perfect. Fucking Bill Gates is buying up all this farmland here in the United States and fucking Montana.
Cheap.
For cheap, dude. For fucking cheap. For why? For why?
I think I think the last time I see when he bought one, he bought 380,000 acres of land.
For why, bro?
Never guessed. You'll never get at the price point. He paid less than $1,500 an acre.
Oh,
get the fuck out of here, bro. Yo, an acre down here in Florida of swampland, bro, it's like 10 racks.
$5,000. It's $5,000. I looked. There's a spot.
He looked at the fucking like the depths of hell to find it, bro. Dude, over here in Polk County, it's going for like that.
There's a spot in Dover, right close to where I work, and it was, I think it was like 32.5 acres of land. They wanted 46,000, and it was literally the trees were like this.
Jesus
you couldn't
Christ.
see through past like the first like three tree rows, and it was just nothing but fucking swamp. And they still wanted almost 80. Well, I'm thinking about almost about 80 grand. I mean, what are you gonna do with that,
bro?
You can't clear it. It's uninhabitable wood. That's the other thing that people don't realize about with like land and stuff, man. I'm gonna pay that money if there's resources on there. Like I can pay a contractor to come in and clear that wood, and that will start helping me pay for that land over again. You know what I mean? But if it's all swamp and uninhabitable wood and unusable wood, I'm not just gonna throw $80,000 away because now I want to spend another $100,000 to make that non-swamp.
No, so I mean, these developers are gonna go in there and they're gonna build communities, and they're gonna build 1,000 cookie cutter houses and sell them for $300,000 a pop.
Yep.
You know, and that's what they do. That's what Walmart's doing. They're building neighborhoods, you know, where you go to work at Walmart and you pay your bills to Walmart, you know, so it's a vicious cycle. So you're essentially a slave to
look at that
thing.
Yeah, look at Zephyr Hills.
The thing.
There's
Amazon's doing too.
What is it in Zephyr Hills? There's like 4 communities in there. They're all ran by different corporations, but I think one of them is a branch off of Amazon, and they have like 3 little like massive homes, like home complexes that have like 150 homes in each complex. And there's a big old sign low as starting at 300s. It's all it says 300s, and that's the minimum. But those are like where you get into your duplexes that they have built in there. There's like maybe like 15, 20 duplexes that start at 300,000, or your smaller like 2-bedroom, 1-bath homes for 300,000.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, man.
And that's just in Zephyr Hills. I mean, yeah, Zephyr Hills.
That ain't
is a nice
shit,
area.
bro.
No, I mean it's a nice area, but it ain't shit. You know what I mean? It's,
Yeah.
but
So.
Oh man.
you know, like while you were sitting there and talking about the lands and politicians and everything like that, like I was just looking even more further into the whole gun law stuff. Like, Jeet, when you were out, we were talking about the whole assassination situation that was going on in Japan, right? So, the former prime minister, I don't know if you see the news, the former prime minister of Japan was assassinated during his speech by a guy who made a homemade gun, right? A homemade gun, and he shot him twice. But we were talking about the whole restrictions and laws in Japan, right? So according to Japan's whole strict gun laws thing, right? In order to own a firearm license, again, you are allowed to own a firearm. They're not taking a freedom away, but in order to allow you to have a firearm, you need to go to an all-day class, pass a written test, have a shoot accuracy of 95% in a shooting range, right? Then along with that, undergo a mental health evaluation, drug test, as well as a rigorous background check, including a review of their criminal record, personal debt, involvement in organized crime, and relationships with family and friends before you can obtain your license, right? And while we were talking about it, at the same time, right, out of 125 million people, there's 377,000 people who are old guns in their houses, right? And that is 0.25 per 100 out of compared to the 120 per 100 people in US, right? And interesting fact, the last known like very well-known gun crime that happened was similar to this incident was in 2007 when the mayor of Nagasaki was shot twice by an alleged gangster. But funnily enough, while I was looking funnily enough, when I was looking through all of this, right? So in 2018, Japan reported only 9 deaths from firearms compared to the 39,740 that a year in United States.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though.
There's little towns that are dying every year, bro.
One thing you got to remember is when you get into like those Asian countries like China, Japan, they alter a lot of things. Because you got to remember, they're still like they're not. But this was not republic. Done. Yeah, but they're not republic countries either.
No, but Japan is known. Japan. Yes, I understand what you're saying, but from what I've known, when it comes to like the whole political, surveys, data collection, and everything like that, Japan is actually one country that's very transparent about certain things when it comes to data mining, because they are very much against the whole idea, because Japan runs in this kind of a way where the public makes their concerns well known, right? And the politicians go according to that kind of a thing, right? So hence why
like they actually represent the people.
Yeah. So hence why the former Shinzo Abe, former prime minister, served for a long period of time, as a prime minister. It's only when during his last terms of his presidency, prime minister seat, he kind of started to go south for it, right? Till then, he was very strong. Just like how even in UK, when Tony Blair was fucking prime minister of UK for 10 years or so, right? During the whole Bush and fucking Blair era that was running.
He was a shit for y'all, wasn't he? He was the man.
Exactly. He was the man for us. Like, according to the whole world, like, he's the bee's knees of our fucking country.
Hell yeah.
Right? Bee's knees.
He was the British Trump. And now you have the British.
He said he was the British. Oh my God.
Bush.
No, he didn't.
British Bush.
British Bush.
Oh. Bush.
Yeah. So exactly.
I don't know if Bush was the bee's knees. Hold up.
Come on. We all miss W. I'd rather have W than Sleepy Joe.
I mean, at this point, honestly, I'd rather have Barack back than Sleepy Joe.
Yeah, I mean, the other motherfuckers, bro.
Hey man, W was hilarious on the TV though. Like there was nothing like there is nothing that beat that man's hilariousness, bro.
It just reminded me. Like, you ever guys watch Family Guy where they take the fucking piss out of George Bush? It's like, I don't know, sir. That's why it just came into
bro. W actually in public said, "Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice. Well, you ain't gonna fool me again." Like he literally forgot the saying, bro. I was like, oh my God, I can't.
I know they have this saying in Tennessee. Well, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee too.
The fact that this man was reading an upside down book to the whole children's classroom was just hilarious.
Well, okay, so hold on. No,
He said, "I'm gonna come in and defend."
Yeah, he's gonna put everybody his tinfoil hat.
With the sunglasses at.
Shades on. I got my shades on. Let's go.
Got my tinfoil hat on, y'all. So
they blurred it.
It's when you seen that thing with him reading the upside down book in the classroom, and because that's what was led to like moments of 9/11.
Yeah.
He went. Yeah. So it was just one of those things where that brings in that back conspiracy that 9/11 was actually
like he was expecting it. Yeah.
That's why they told him he was reading that book, and they told him, right? I remember seeing the videos of him reading that book because they fucking filmed him reading to that classroom. The Secret Service man went in like this.
Just whispered in his ear.
Oh, I saw that video, by the way.
Man, and then he went back reading. Like they never pulled him out of like, dude, the minute. So if this was an actual terrorist attack, right, on our country, not even minutes, it would be seconds after they confirmed that there was an attack. There would have been 30.
I mean, that's a good point. He would have ended up in a bunker ASAP, Rocky.
It would have been fucking minutes. Like they would have driven. They wouldn't even went in Air Force One. They would have literally took the. I can't remember the name they used for the presidential limo, but it would have went like right there, right underground. He would have went right underground somewhere, and that's just he never did, dude. They fucking whispered it to him. And he went right back reading to the school, right back to the classroom.
I saw that video, right? Well, apart from him reading the upside down thing, bro, I've seen a lot of conspiracy videos. Like damn about the whole 9/11 stuff. Like, bro, I've seen a lot of shit.
Did you guys see the video of Donald Rumsfeld talking about the $1.2 trillion that just disappeared? And then like a week later, September 11th happened. Yes, bro. Yes.
Yeah, that apparently the counting department of where the money disappeared was at the Trade Center. So that all those records were now.
There's like Tower 7, the one that was like next to the Twin Towers that like collapsed for no reason.
No, that spontaneously just blew up out of nowhere.
Yes.
Oh, I know. I've seen that. I saw that video where it's like structurally just goes down.
Yeah. So in that building was a record of where the $1.2 trillion went. It just vanished, bro.
Yeah, it was the business. It was the business office for the United States, bro. For the money ran. That's what that building was. And when they it just,
I don't know, man.
I don't know, it just disappeared. But the thing of it was, the other thing, one that got me going was jet fuel won't melt angle iron.
So?
Yeah, and jet fuel will not melt angle iron. So when the Twin Towers went down, instead of if the plane came in and hit it, right, it should have either capsized it this way or capsized it one of the angles. It won't implode. When you implode something, it's when you detonate it from the inside out. So you detonate. Jet fuel won't burn.
But wouldn't the impact sacrifice the integrity of the structure?
No,
regardless.
Not the angle iron. Not the angle iron. Not to like that. But even if it would have took the size of a plane like Air Force One to possibly bring that fully down. Now see,
bullshit.
See, here's the thing where they were saying that there was implants into the Twin Towers, that when the plane went in, it ignited those implants because the jet fuel will cause enough it's a flame source to ignite those the C4 or whatever they use to implode it. Because it literally, if you ever watch a video of, I know it's fucking sad to watch, but if you watch it fall, it literally caves into itself into structures.
So
then you see like small explosions down in the bottom parts of the floor when it started going.
Each floor, boom, 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 boom.
So I saw a slow motion video of the building actually like collapsing, right? And they zoomed it in. And as you can see, each floor, like little explosions just shoot off each floor.
Yes.
Right? And it just goes down like in a perfectly symmetrical fucking down. Like shit was nothing to be there from the first place. You know what I mean? And hey, man, I don't know. Like your country's got some fucking conspiracies and secrets and all of that.
Yeah, bro. I'll be real with you. Regardless of what's true or not, USA's got the conspiracy shit down pat.
Yeah, dude. And then the main thing, guys,
like we're unrivaled.
They had the 9/11 commission, right? So you had all these investigators try to get down to who was responsible, right? So they're like, oh, it's Al Qaeda. These fighters came from Afghanistan. But at the end of the day, they found out that it was the Saudis. The Saudis funded everything, right?
Saudis funded everything, and they all came from Jordan.
All of them, right?
All of
From
them
the
came from
command of
Jordan.
the United States. Of course,
And
it was us.
they found one of the guys' passports 3 blocks from their trade centers. Perfect condition.
Oh.
It wasn't scarred. It wasn't melted. It was nothing. Perfect condition. They found it 3 blocks away from the trade centers.
And then you would think, okay, so the Saudis aren't our allies, they're our enemies because they funded this operation, right? No, we're in cahoots with them, you know? And then when you get a population of people that, again, are busting their asses for shitty fucking job, and then you hear your government is doing this type of shit, some motherfuckers are gonna go off the deep end, you know? Again, it's not right. I mean, but you could kind of see where that dude from Japan came from, you know. Maybe his family was affected by some of the laws or whatever that this dude implemented while he was in power.
Well,
you know,
again, it all comes down to, I'm going to use this as an example. It comes down to oil. So where we were confused with the Saudis, that's where I was one of our number one consumers was buying oil from the Saudis.
Yeah.
All right. And then so wasn't a lot of other people. Well, once Afghanistan and Iraq and Pakistan started getting into the oil game, they were selling it for cheaper. Well, it's pissing off the Saudis. The Saudis just can't attack Pakistan because of the oil. So Saudis went.
I thought Afghanistan was with the whole opium crisis, like that. They wanted to control.
They
most
just
of,
restarted
most of the
again,
opium
bro.
shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
They just restarted.
It was it was in there, but the reason why we went into Iraq and Pakistan was because of oil, and then again it started with the
Like,
farm.
I don't
That's
know
why
about
we moved.
When
That's
did
why
they
we
go
moved
into
into
Pakistan?
Pakistan. That's why we moved into Pakistan, is because of, I believe that's what was because of the opiate.
Opium runs
It's a big pharma
in Middle East. Yeah, opium runs a lot of shit in Middle East countries like Afghanistan and stuff like that. But at the same time, like Pakistan had no choice because US's ally India is right there. So yeah, I guess I can see that, like why you just allow that shit to happen as well, because But at the same time, it's like even UK can't say shit because we are in cahoots with fucking Saudis and the Qataris and all of these other people too. Because majority of the infrastructure in London, as you see, is funded by the Qataris, right? The Qataris funded most of the infrastructures. Yeah, most of the fucking buildings that you see across the fucking city in London.
Manchester City. Oof.
Shame.
Right? And then afterwards, you got the Saudis, like, we have trade deals when it comes to like weapons and shit like that. So, my country is not fucking great too. It's fucking shit. You know what I mean? They have their own fucking thing.
But not even that. You get those Middle Eastern countries talking about even just weapon deals. You get those Middle Eastern countries, and a lot of them, like you seize their weapons, right? A lot of them have United States stamps on them. No matter what kind of weapon it is, like they have United States stamps on them.
You're welcome, Taliban.
Really? Then not even
You
just
got like
not even
$2 billion worth of free tactical gear, fucking helicopters and guns. You're welcome, bitch.
Didn't we hear recently we gave them even more?
Yeah. Not even that. When we left all those compounds and everything there. It wasn't even that. It was before that when I think it was the Taliban fighting another
The Russians
group.
The
Yeah, it
Russian.
was a Russian or something like that. We were fucking flooding. We were
Yeah.
flooding them
the
with
Russians.
weapons.
We showed them how to make IEDs and shit.
Yeah.
Like
And then
we
they were
showed them
using it
everything.
Yeah, and they were using it
Yeah.
against us when we went in. But
That is
Real smart.
madness. It's madness how like
Good
the
job.
world runs around. Like we what you call in United Kingdom, right? We what you call excel in soft trades, right? We excel in soft trades when it comes across the world. We can do fucking deals behind your backs and we not even know this to the fucking public. And everything is all written down, paperwork, everything. And nobody has a fucking clue in this fucking world, right? What the fucking deal is all about. That's why we excel in soft trades, right?
that's the same here,
most of the country excel in harder trades. Like USA is dominantly with hard trades when it comes to like oil, weapons, this, that, etc., etc. The trades that you guys do are excelling in hard trade. we are fucking document bitches. Like, we write out the whole PDF format fucking letter over there saying that this is what we want, this is what we need, this is how we will do it for the next fucking so and so years, and they will slide it at the back like, here you go, sign that shit. We could.
It's because the UK is the financial department of the Illuminati. Like, you guys are the financial part. The United States, we handle the guns and imposing the power all over the world. The Vatican owns the religious part. You know what I'm saying? And China manufactures everything for everybody. There you go. The four departments. It's an industry, bro.
You know what? Speaking of,
it's a company. Right?
Yeah. He says Illuminati. I can't help but think of fucking Marvel.
I'm telling you, you brought up a great topic because you involved one aspect which will be on the next week episode, maybe or not.
So
religion.
I have a question.
We gotta talk about religion.
So I have a question for you.
About religion.
What's up?
We're pissing everybody off, right?
Well, do you actually think we will ever see another massive war?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Define massive.
I don't think so.
Like with the US, like a World War sort of vibe?
Maybe
like a World War scenario?
Like, so it makes me just think of, so let me break this down. So it makes me just think of like, all right, so what's going on with Russia and Ukraine, right? So that's technically a war. So we're seeing another war. But what I mean is not like US invading Iraq and all that stuff. We're not like that kind of war. Not where it's like
head to head?
A country legitly head to head pulling other countries to start another world war. Do you ever
I mean, it's been speculated for the longest that if it ever happened, it would either be North Korea or Russia.
Let me propose this. Let's say we're already in a war. We're already in the biggest war that has ever been seen in man, because we have the war on drugs, we have the war on terror, we have a trade war with fucking China, right? And there's a war on our intellectual properties, you know, like us, our podcast, we've experienced it. We get shadow banned for the conversations we have. You know, there's an obvious war against free speech. You know, there's a war against our rights.
I'm talking about like full
like an actual
like,
pew 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 pew.
Yeah, like a whole World War scenario.
Another world war.
Next war is going to be fought by SpaceX. Mark my words.
Ooh.
Oh, probably.
Oh,
Gonna be another,
bro.
Because everybody's already fought over land, right? And there's always going to be the fight over land. But why do you think all these companies are creating all these space departments and these space armies and shit?
Yeah,
because whoever controls a space, low key, controls a lot, my dude.
Yeah, you control the satellites, right?
The satellites, intercontinental ballistic missiles, those all are gonna go through space. You get me? If you can control the air and you can prevent the missile from reaching its max altitude, don't you win? It's the win.
Instead of country versus country, you know, eventually when we colonize other planets, it's gonna be fucking planets versus planets, fam.
Oh no, there's always
sounds kind of dope.
Yeah, you're gonna have Earth versus the new Martians.
But what it is there's always gonna be war. Don't get me wrong. No matter how advanced we get, but what I'm the reason I'm bringing up another actual world war is there one deterrent of a world war? The fact of nuclear weapons. Is that a massive deterrent?
I think it is, because it's a very scary alternative for everybody involved. That you piss one person off the right way, or you attack them the right way. Next thing you know, they literally just nuked your entire country with the 30 missiles they got or whatever the fuck.
I mean, because of the Cold War, with that whole nuclear war like standoff we were having with Russia, we built 2 stations. There's one in Alaska, right?
I mean, we got a lot of stations with nukes in them.
No, just 2. No, not even nuke stations. Like all these stations are to destroy nukes.
Right, to intercept them before in the middle of the ocean before they cross the country.
So those were built because of this war. So I mean, there are wars to stop the like things put in place to stop nuclear warheads from detonating. But like right here, like I'm thinking of like this right now. So we've always been kind of like at a standstill with Russia, like always button heads. They're doing cyber attacks here, cyber attacks there, whatever. But right now with this whole thing with them in Ukraine, me personally, I honestly think it's the perfect time for us to go to back Ukraine and go in and kind of destroy Russia. I mean, I
could see it strategically. If we help Ukraine, we're right at Russia's front door.
Yeah.
So I see why they're even trying to help.
But that's the thing where but we can't go in because of the fact of to me, that's like part of Putin's plan is maybe I get this country, one of these other superpowers to help them. Now we can go to war.
Well, he's warned multiple times, like, hey, keep helping Ukraine. That shit isn't going to end nicely.
China's backing
kind of
Russia, right?
Well, it's not that they're backing them. They just refuse to go against them.
That's why I put it.
Which is slightly different.
So, but
they pulled a Caesar. They just washed their hands and said, hey, that ain't me.
But North Korea is kind of backing them as well. They have support. So it's almost all your dictated countries that aren't in the UN.
But is the thing,
Pontius Pilate, by the way.
Even if you're in UN or even if you're not in UN, right? The allies that they tie between each countries is very important to them, right? So look at it this way: if countries like China do back Russia, right? Even though they're not backing at the minute, it's just like they're not saying anything at the minute regarding that fact. Then they don't want to do anything about it at this point. Is they're like, hey, this is Europe's mess. Let them deal with it, kind of situation.
They're focused on Taiwan and Hong Kong. That's why
they have more focus. Exactly,
the Asian Ukraine.
Yeah, they're more focused on Taiwan to capture it, right? But the only person over here within the Asian continent, right, the one country that actually has to say something and do something about it is India, because India has very good ties with Putin, right? With Russia, in fact, because the military, the defense, every time they have defensive strategies with Russia on a regular basis, right? They used to do it all the time. So India is another powerful country within the Asian continent that can actually do something about it, but they're not do fuck all about it at the same time, because they don't want to tread on fucking Putin. Is they like, hey man, you're supplying us with fucking firearms, like I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. You know what I mean? True. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. And also with my food that you're bringing in from your country, that the trade relations that we have going on with the food too, like when it comes to proteins, like carbohydrates, foods, things like that, I have a very good relationship with you, so I'm not gonna fucking do that. Like, I'm just gonna keep quiet. That's why during this whole entire, what was it? There was a vote that happened, I believe, in the UN. They said like, oh, these are the countries that are backing the whole UN to say like, you have to put sanctions and this, that, and everything. And then you come to countries like India and China, they literally did not vote. They just like.
Well, you saw the heat that Germany got because they decided not to vote. And then with all that heat, eventually they were like, all right, you know what? It was a mistake not to vote. We're here to help Ukraine. This is the first time in, I don't know, like almost like 100 years since Germany actually participated, helped, assisted anything in any war.
Well, thank God, bro, because we ain't got no more. We have no more money to give.
But here's the thing,
we have no reason. Well,
I mean, we have
nothing.
No money to give at all.
But
we're broken giving money.
Well, because the thing of it was is Germany couldn't afford to go against Russia because they were still purchasing the oil from Russia.
They have 40% of gas fuel coming in from Russia. In the whole of Europe, they decided to go 40% with Russia, right? And it provides 40% of the fuel consumption in Germany. Right?
I mean, a lot of fuel comes from Russia in general.
But I even think it was 40%. I thought Germany did up to like 80 or 75%.
No, 40%. 40% of fuel, just like, for example, like gas that you use in fucking cookers and shit like that.
That's oil. That's oil.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like,
you're talking about like natural gas.
Yeah,
all of that.
Like Gazprom or whatever.
So there's a pipeline that comes directly, right, through Ukraine, right? And that's the main reason why this is going on, because there's a pipeline that comes from Ukraine, and Ukraine will be the person providers of the gas, and Russia don't want nothing to do with that. Like, here's the thing: 8 years ago, during Crimea situation, right? 8 years ago, before all of this shit kicked off, right? When Russia went to decide to capture Crimea, right? None of these motherfuckers around the world
Cared.
apart from saying shit, didn't do nothing. They didn't even put a plan of action, didn't even do anything, right? To say like, oh shit, like, look, this guy's come and taken Crimea, he's caught Crimea under control. Let's put some plans ahead so that we can completely, when the time comes, we can completely cut off, or some kind of a progress step to do so to cut him off. But they didn't do that shit. They waited till the last minute thinking, oh, Putin's just bluffing. He's not going to do shit. He ain't going to do shit. And then what happens on February? Bam. Next minute, you know, fucking Russia's invaded Ukraine.
Well, Joker, I think a lot of people, the reason why the Allies didn't want to like rush into the Ukraine situation is because before the whole Russian intervention, that country was falling apart. They were silencing their media, their news reporters. They were locking them up. They were murdering a lot of people. I mean, there's just a lot of corruption going on. So I can kind of understand why people are like, "Nah, we don't want to get involved in that shit show."
Here's the thing. What I'm saying is, 8 years ago, they had NATO and UN and the fucking European Union had a plan. They could have started off a plan, right? In case something goes wrong in the near upcoming future, we are good to go. We are very well sufficed. We can do everything without having the need to put all these sanctions and create all these kind of a thing. You'll be like, hey man, fuck you. I'm going to put the sanction and you're so lost now. I don't have to rely on you anymore. You know what I mean? They could have put some kind of a plan, some kind of a steps forward. But since then, they didn't do shit until wait till the last minute, fam. That's what I'm pissed off about. It's like, you waited 8 years later to put all of these plans. Why couldn't you fucking implement Ukraine in NATO 8 years ago?
Here's the thing. The minute they put Ukraine into NATO, nuclear weapons would have been launched.
No, but I understand that. But now...
No, you don't understand it. No, you know. What I'm saying is you don't understand it. Because
why do you think that would have immediately caused a reaction? Because
here's the thing. Because Putin does not want NATO or the UN on his border.
Nothing.
That's
not nothing.
No, here's
he doesn't want.
And that means that we're going to be his neighbor, and he don't want that shit.
He don't want that. So what he wouldn't have launched them at the United States. He wouldn't have launched them at Britain. He would have rather seen Ukraine burn.
Than
him not have.
What I'm saying is, all right, fine. Even if you don't want to accept Ukraine into the NATO, right? They just fucking approved their thing with the European Union, fam, right? Only till the last fucking minute. You don't do that shit, right? Or give them some kind of a guidance and put steps in place so that they are ready. Like what? Even before they were not part of NATO, EU, whatever it is, they were still helping them out. It's only because of peer pressure, they decided, oh, okay, we will invite you into the country now, part of our group, member society.
Yeah, but the thing of it is, the European Union doesn't scare Putin because that's nothing.
No, it's not. It's not nothing. I know it's nothing. But what I'm saying is,
the minute you go into the UN, that's something. That's massive.
The problem now is, right? Turkey has got a majority of the veto in many things that the European Union or NATO wants to do, because NATO is Turkey is part of NATO. So Turkey vetoed. The only reason Turkey allowed fucking Finland and Norway to join part of fucking NATO or EU was because Turkey said, hey, if you don't give us the fucking people that we call terrorists and part of the Kurdistan thing, we are not going to let them join part of the fucking any part of organizations in this fucking world, right? Only because there was a side negotiation that happened, Turkey turned around and said, I bet now you can join.
So we gave up the Kurds to get the Finn. Yeah. Wow.
Exactly.
That's fucked up, bro.
But
that's what I'm saying.
We're allies against fucking ISIS.
No, but hold on. Here's the thing. Now, it was smart for us to allow Finland to do that, to allow Finland in. Because here's the thing. Now we own that corridor. So if you were even to pull up, pull up a map on that. All right. If you look where Finland is in those Baltic Sea areas, all right, not Baltic Seas, whatever the fuck seas are up there, it gives us advantage now for them being part of NATO. It allows us to put fleets in their sea space. Before, when they weren't, it was when you put other countries' ships and bases in other countries, it's start putting them in their sea space. It's acts of war. So
they have to go through the economic area, EEA, which is the economic area. So so that's why Russia for so long was backing North Korea on this whole war, like the Korean War, is because if we would have ended up beating North Korea, right, and actually moving into North Korea and making that part of some South Korea back into North Korea and making that united Korea, it would have allowed us to put warships on the border of Russia. So that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, Russia literally does not want anything of the United States to be on that border. The only thing that they're still even pissed that we even have Alaska. Yeah.
And the
you gotta remember,
except for 250.
If we ever get a massive freeze, like a massive freeze, there's.
What do you mean by freeze? Like ice age sort of shit. Okay.
Like temperature.
Nuclear winter or something?
No. Just temperature wise. And it decides
the Bering Sea or whatever will freeze over.
Yeah, it will freeze over, and it will cause an ice bridge from Russia to Alaska.
Oh yeah.
Or what they can do is just build a station in Venezuela or in fucking Cuba. They're allies, and they could just launch operations from there.
But here's the thing: they're already like, what was it? I think it was on one of the articles that I was reading. But it already has those implementations taken care of, right? Russia's already implemented that shit and taken care of. Like, they're massive communist allies within the Latin American countries. They have already implemented it, and they're already prepared and waiting. And that's why he turned around and he had the ballsiness to turn around and say, you try something, I'm gonna fuck you up, kind of a situation, right? So that's why he's so ballsy about it. And second thing is, like, also the fact is that if in Asian territories itself, the two biggest massive land that owns in Asia is China and India, right? They're the massive geographic wise, they're huge, right? And also, not only that, like I said, you see, if Russia turns around and says something to India to say like, hey, you got to, India might be obliged to follow through with it, because right now in Asia, the two hostile countries, right, that's for India is China and Pakistan, right? They're the two massive hostile countries for India. The reason being is they're having a territorial war against China because China is trying to expand into the fucking territory, right? And India's like, yeah, I'm not letting you do that shit, kind of a thing. It's only because of Russia putting in these negotiations at this point, they're like, okay, we're not going to do anything, but we're going to force them take care of fucking Taiwan, and India better not say something about Taiwan. You know what I mean? That's the kind of a deal that's going on. And also at the same time, Pakistan on to the left is there like, hey man, look, Russia is your allies. I'm not going to do anything at this point. But when shit comes to show and your relationships are going to go worse, that's when I'm going to try and fuck you up. And that's why slowly India is trying to make US its biggest ally, right? Compared to the ally that they have, which is Russia. Their biggest ally right now is Russia. But slowly they're going to be transitioning as US being the biggest ally. So that's why, the previous Prime Minister of India had very close ties with the American president. And this Prime Minister right now, I don't know what his game is in India, but this motherfucker is like, he's on another fucking Putin of India, because he's just going around fucking up every single Muslim community out there, and anyone who's opposed to the Hindu culture, right? This motherfucker is like, he's on like a spree right now.
But there's the thing though, if you ask me like that, to me, like, if you ask me what you think the main, like, I'm not trying to get too deep into religion, but if you ask me, like, what was the thing? Is it Hindi or Muslim or Muslimic in India? I'm gonna tell you, it's
Hindus.
Yeah, it's gonna be Hindus. I mean, but so
The majority is Hindus right now in India, right? Majority. But before this whole entire shit show, like the whole entire premise of this whole race religion war that's going on in India is because there is a holy site where both the Muslims and the Hindus want to hold it like their own, right? And one party saying, no, it belongs to us. The other party is saying, no, it's belonging to us. And I mean, there's been decades of Hindu-Muslim war that's going on in India. There was a time when I stayed over there for 1 month to go see my family. Bro, I went into the wrong fucking month because there was a Hindu-Muslim war. People were chasing fucking other people with fucking machetes and fucking long-ass swords and shit like that. Like, damn, I had to lock myself. And that was allowed. It was like a purge for 1 day. And that shit was allowed. That shit was like literally, police were nowhere to be seen. All of these people were disappearing. Everyone was just locked up in the home, bro. Like, everyone was just staying there. Like, I'm not going out there today. I'm not going out there today.
But
you know what?
Anyways,
I was gonna say, so we're a little bit past our time because we could literally sit here and talk all day. I'm gonna leave a question for everybody in the chat to answer. Is it better to just be ignorant of everything that's going on around us and just live a simple life? Or should everyone know? I want to hear from that in the chat.
yeah,
I want to hear in the chat. But let's stop here. Spicy, right? Let's stop here just because we are a little bit past our time. If you do want us to talk a little bit more about this down the road, please leave a comment. Make sure that you like. We are a growing channel, so every little bit is going to help us. So shout out to the cast. Hit the notification bell. Yes. And shout out to the cast here, Jeej, Joker, and Senor Caveman. Appreciate you guys being here once more.
Thank you, Winter. We appreciate
for sure, homies. We're all in this together, bro.
And stay tuned for next episode because we have a very, very special guest coming.
Ooh,
yeah,
interesting.
We do have a guest coming in for the next episode. So
We'll wait and see who that is.
Ooh.
Comment, like, subscribe. We are 3 guys in a bit. Peace.
Hit the notification bell.
Don't forget to wipe.